Hey, good evening, everyone. Blitzball Champ of Blitzball Champ Gaming, back with another video here on the YouTube the Tube. So, Money in the Bank 2021. It's officially in the books. So, let's talk about it. Uh, there was some good, some bad. That's all I can say. But let's get into it. So, the pre-show match, the kickoff, was the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, where the Mysterios, Ray and Dominic, defended against the Usos. This actually was a pretty decent match for the kickoff. This was actually a really decent match, and it was back and forth, and of course, it's a pay-per-view back in front of a live crowd. And you know what? I was pleased. I was pleased with this kickoff match. Um, Dominic Mysterio looked really good in this match. I thought he looked really good in this match. And ultimately, the Usos get back on top of the totem pole. Rey Mysterio got pinned with both Usos. Pretty much, I think it was Jay that got the pin, but Jimmy gave Jay leverage using his legs against him in order to help keep Rey Mysterio down long enough for the 1, 2, 3. And the Usos are now 7-time tag team champions. That's right, 7 times. And now the Usos and Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, all have gold. I was a little bummed for the Mysterios because they didn't really have a long title reign, and I feel like they had the titles mainly to make history. As the first father and son tag team in WWE history to win the tag titles. But I really wish they would have had a longer title reign. But Usos are back on top. It's interesting. It reminds me, this was another similar situation before, where I believe Jimmy got a DUI, and then following that, they won the tag titles. And this is pretty much a repeat of that. So it doesn't really surprise me. I just feel it's kind of ironic that sort of the same scenario happened, because it wasn't that long ago that Jimmy had that DUI. But yeah, Usos are your 7-time tag team champions, and it seems like all is well within the Samoan family. All is happy with the tribal chief, Roman Reigns. But overall, that was actually a pretty good kickoff match. I was pretty surprised. For a kickoff match, it was actually pretty good. Okay. The main card for Money in the Bank opens with the women's Money in the Bank match. Pardon me. So just a review of who was in the women's Money in the Bank. You had Alexa Bliss. You had Nikki Cross, or Nikki ASH, whatever. You had Asuka. You had Liv Morgan. You had the women's tag team champions, Tamina and Natalia. You had Zelina Vega. And who am I missing? I know I'm missing somebody. So the tag team champs, that's 2. Tamina and Natalia. Nikki Cross. Oh, Naomi. I knew I was missing one. Naomi. So Naomi, Alexa, Asuka, Nikki, Tamina, Natalia, Liv, Zelina Vega. Those are your 8 ladies. I have to say, this was, for not really being a fan of the Money in the Bank match in general, the women's Money in the Bank was actually pretty good. There were some pretty good spots. Everybody was involved. Got to see a lot of involvement with Tamina, with her pretty much being the biggest woman in this match. So I thought that was pretty neat. Liv Morgan had a couple of great spots as well. Good to see Liv Morgan was very active. Same with Naomi and Asuka. I mean, everybody was pretty involved. Everybody was pretty involved. I thought it was funny hearing Asuka scream at the top of the ladder when Tamina started lifting up the ladder. I've never heard Asuka scream like that. That kind of caught me off guard. Like, that was crazy. But I mean, I really enjoyed the spots from Liv Morgan, from Zelina Vega. Natalia was really getting involved as well. But and of course Alexa Bliss. I really liked her look. She didn't do the skirt. She had like her original gear, just all dark, and she didn't have the skirt anymore. So I thought that was pretty cool. Zelina Vega had some really cool ring gear. Kind of reminded me of Aaliyah from Queen of the Damned, from that movie. But yeah, overall this was a pretty decent match. The way it ended though, okay, so Nikki ASH won Money in the Bank, but it was like you had all those ladies up there, and Nikki just kind of sneaks up the middle ladder and just grabs the briefcase. Like, it was like nobody could even see that she was reaching for the briefcase. And it's like, really? So she pretty much snuck her way directly up the middle ladder. Because you pretty much had, 3 ladders side by side? And she pretty much snuck up the middle ladder over everybody and grabbed the briefcase. And there you have it. Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH, is your 2021 Miss Money in the Bank. I was okay with Nikki being a choice. I was thinking it was gonna end up being Nikki, Alexa, Liv Morgan, or Zelina Vega. So I was okay. I was okay with this choice. I was kind of feeling for Nikki when she did the off the top ladder spot, taking out everybody from the top of that tall ladder into the middle of the ring where all the rest of the ladies was, because it didn't look like she got enough lift off of that ladder, but thankfully she did. But the way the ladder kind of moved, it almost looked like she slipped from the top. But thankfully she was able to get enough push to get into the middle of the ring and do the splash, hitting everybody. So but Nikki ASH, almost superhero, is your 2021 Miss Money in the Bank. And like I said, I'm cool with it. The ending, the way it looked was just kind of weird. But I mean, Nikki winning the briefcase, it's something different. Asuka has won it before. Alexa Bliss has won it before. It was good to see somebody new and somebody that normally you would think wouldn't win this contract. So congratulations to Nikki Cross, Nikki ASH, whatever you want to call her. It'll be interesting to see who she may cash it in on, or when she'll cash it in. There's no telling who she might cash it in on. So keep an eye out. Definitely keep an eye out. All right. Let's see. Next up, we had the Raw Tag Team title match. So we had AJ Styles and Omos, the champs, defending against the Viking Raiders. Um, I mean, this really just ended up being a match. Pardon me. This really just ended up being a match where AJ Styles did some work, but Omos made the most impactful statement that would lead the team to victory. And honestly, it's not really that much different from any other AJ Styles Omos tag team match, to be honest. The only difference is AJ Styles didn't get rolled up like he's been getting rolled up the last couple of times. But Omos was able to put away Eric just like he did on Monday Night Raw, this past Monday Night Raw, with pretty much a derailer or Baldo bomb, pretty much like A-Train or Albert used to do, and got the victory. But yeah, AJ Styles and Omos retained the Raw tag titles. I was kind of intrigued at the spots where the Viking Raiders were trying to take down Omos together. And they were able to take him down to a knee, both on the inside and outside of the ring. So, I mean, that was pretty neat. But, I don't know. I'm really not a fan of this tag team of AJ Styles and Omos. I'm really not. So, but, I mean, they're probably going to have those tag titles for a good while. As long as Omos is there, they're going to have those tag titles for a while. A good while. They may even make it through the end of the year as tag champs. I think it's very possible. But we'll see. Next up, we had the WWE Championship Match. Bobby Lashley versus Kofi Kingston. Honestly, this was pretty weak. They did all of that buildup with Kofi and Xavier Woods getting the best of Bobby Lashley and such. All that building up. Excuse me. All that building up for Kofi to get squashed on this pay-per-view. Really? I mean, it was pretty much as bad as when Brock Lesnar squashed Kofi. I mean, yeah, Brock did it quicker, but still, Kofi really barely had offense, and that was only in the beginning of the match. But that didn't last. I mean, the dude took flatliner after flatliner, took like 3 dominators and a hurt lock. I mean, it was at the point where Kofi couldn't even defend himself. He couldn't even defend himself. You know? It's sad. It's kind of sad that there's been multiple occasions where Kofi's been squashed on a pay-per-view. Like, I just think it's messed up, to be honest. I think it's messed up. But yeah, Bobby destroyed, flattened, squashed, whatever you want to call it. That's what he did to Kofi Kingston. That's what Bobby Lashley did. And pretty much retains the WWE Championship. Easily. Easily. The Raw Women's title match was next. Rhea Ripley defending against Charlotte Flair. Now, I'll be honest. This was a great match. Between these two ladies, this was actually a great match. But the way that it ended was ridiculous. Now, there were some good spots of the match. Of course, Charlotte Flair doing the turnbuckle off the top rope, natural selection. That was pretty cool. Rhea locking Charlotte into that leg submission that she usually does. I thought that was cool. Charlotte pretty much flipping off the crowd, which Peacock tried to censor, but didn't really catch it. But yeah, these two ladies were back and forth. And, the match was great. Match was fantastic. But then there was the ending. So, Charlotte Flair snapped, took control of Rhea Ripley's leg, put her foot into the steel steps, and then just kept drop kicking the steel steps. Drop kick the steel steps with her foot trapped behind them. And then got back in the ring, locked in the figure eight. Rhea taps. Charlotte is your new Raw Women's Champion. So let me get this straight. So you can have Rhea cleanly beat Asuka 3 times, but she can't beat Charlotte once? You have a match with Charlotte and Rhea where she hits Charlotte with a piece of the announce table coming up, and it's a DQ. The ref calls for a DQ. But yet, when Charlotte had Rhea's foot trapped behind the steel steps, in plain sight, and drop kicked the steel steps with her foot trapped, that's not a DQ? Charlotte did not need this win. And it's even more clear that the main objective is, as soon as they can, get Charlotte enough championship victories where she will surpass her father, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And I believe with this win, this puts her at 13. 13 now? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It's 13 or 14. Either way, she's pretty much 3 away from tying, 4 away from surpassing the Nature Boy. And that's twice now. Because remember, Charlotte beat Rhea at WrestleMania, made her tap out, and won the NXT Women's Championship from Rhea. I don't get this. I don't get it at all. And honestly, that really put a nasty taste in my mouth. What was such a great match had a ridiculous and an ending that made no sense. I mean, the ref didn't even call for a DQ. But, Rhea flips the announce table panel, hits Charlotte. That's a DQ. Rhea can beat Asuka one-on-one 3 times. Clean. But can't beat Charlotte once. How much sense does that make? Seriously. And the crazy thing is, Asuka has beaten Charlotte a few times this year. I don't get it. I really don't get it. But just like that, Charlotte's now Raw Women's Champion again. And I believe for the Raw Women's Championship, this is her 6th Raw Women's Championship. And this ends Rhea Ripley's reign. Just like that. Somebody that was brought in onto the main roster and her first singles match, WrestleMania, and she wins the title beating Asuka. And y'all are cool with that. I'm going to move on before I get more pissed off. We have the men's Money in the Bank match next. So, at this point, Peacock, the app Peacock, started messing up and lagging and skipping and freezing, which, it did for a lot of friends of mine and a lot of other subscribers. So, there was a good portion of this match that I missed. Kept trying to restart Peacock, wasn't working until like maybe the last half of the match. It finally started working. But to go over the competitors, you had Matt Riddle, you had Johnny Drip Drip Morrison, you had Ricochet, you had Seth Rollins, you had Shinsuke Nakamura, Kevin Owens, Big E, and I'm missing someone again. Hold on. Okay, SmackDown, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, Big E, Shinsuke Nakamura. Okay, that's SmackDown. So for Raw, it was Ricochet, it was John Morrison, Johnny Drip Drip, it was Matt Riddle, and who the heck am I forgetting? Oh my god. I know I'm forgetting somebody. I cannot think of who the heck I'm forgetting. Who am I forgetting? Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre. From what I've caught of this match, when Peacock finally started to act correctly, was Drew McIntyre was in control for quite a bit. You had a very insane spot with Ricochet from the ladder being tilted to landing on the top rope, springboard into a swanton until the outside, taking out a crowd of the competitors. Ricochet, one of the top premier high flyers in the business currently. And if y'all haven't seen a lot of Ricochet matches, especially outside of the WWE, I highly recommend checking out Ricochet. If you love high flyers, you need to check out Ricochet. And then you had Kevin Owens get a couple of good spots, a few stunners, a pop-up power bomb. He got tossed a pretty much power bomb through a ladder, breaking a ladder. And when it seemed like Seth Rollins was getting ready to grab the briefcase, get up there and grab the briefcase, Big E gives a sick big ending to Seth Rollins off the ladder. And Big E, the New Day's Big E, was able to finish the job, grab the briefcase, and for the men, Big E is your 2021 Mr. Money in the Bank. So Nikki Cross for the women, Big E for the men. I definitely am glad of this outcome. And if you want to talk history, I believe this makes Big E the first African American in the WWE to win Money in the Bank. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's correct. And I thought it was pretty funny that he gave the last move to Seth Rollins. You know, kind of makes me think about NXT. Remember? He beat Seth Rollins to win the NXT Championship. Became the second NXT champion. But Big E, ladies and gentlemen, big opportunity for him. Now he has a year to cash in on either Bobby Lashley or Roman Reigns. Me personally, I think this could be the chance of him reuniting with the New Day if he were to cash it in and beat Bobby Lashley. Then hey, he'd be back on Raw with Kofi and Xavier. Very possible. But kudos to Big E on becoming Mr. Money in the Bank. Good stuff. Good choice. Good choice. My whole thing was, as long as it wasn't Seth Rollins or Drew McIntyre, I would have been fine. So none of them won, so I'm happy. And then you had the main event. Universal Championship. Roman Reigns defends against Edge. This was definitely a pretty long match. It was pretty back and forth. Both Edge and Roman had a chance to have a good amount of momentum. And, you know, it was good. It was definitely really good. And then it got to a point where Roman Reigns hit Edge with a Superman punch, but he fell into the referee Charles Robinson and he tweaked his knee or tweaked his leg. So he went down. And it looked like Roman was about to bring in a chair and lock in Edge with the crossface with that bottom Cheglair. But didn't happen. Edge was able to reverse it and put the crossface with the chair leg onto Roman Reigns. Now, of course, the Usos would come down and try to interfere, but the Mysterios came down to stop that. And Edge still had it locked on. But now, down comes Seth Rollins, interferes, gives a super kick to Edge, breaking up the submission. And then Seth Rollins leaves. And when it looked like Roman Reigns was going to take advantage and give Edge a spear, Edge counters with a spear. And as he went to go make the cover, the ref is still down. And then eventually another ref comes in to try to make the count, but Roman Reigns kicks out. And then, as it looked like Edge was about to go for another spear, here comes Seth Rollins coming back for the distraction. And then Roman Reigns hits Edge with his spear. Cover, 1, 2, 3. Roman Reigns, still your Universal Champion. Thought it was a pretty crap ending. It's like, why would Seth Rollins come in, then leave, and then come back less than a few moments later? Like, they should have just had him stay out there. You know, that really made no sense to me. Like, coming out, interfering, leaving, and then coming back interfering. Just, it makes no sense. And then you had a face-to-face moment with Roman and Seth. Seth was pretty much like, hey, I just saved your title reign. You owe me. I want the next shot. You're only here because of me. That whole thing. And then Edge attacked Seth Rollins, and then they started brawling. They brawled over the barricade and out into the crowd, and they just kept brawling and brawling and brawling. And Roman Reigns got on the mic and was like, now, all of you better acknowledge me. I won. I'm still champ. Y'all better acknowledge me. And then John Cena's music hits. And out comes Mr. Hustle, Loyalty, Respect himself. John Cena enters into the arena. Comes down, meets Roman Reigns, gives the you can't see me chant, or taunt, poses, show ends. Didn't say any words, didn't grab a mic, just, you can't see me, pose, show ends. Well, definitely a big pop from the fans. Huge pop. And that's pretty much the only real big surprise of the evening. We didn't get Sasha Banks. We didn't get Becky Lynch. So that was really the only big surprise of the night that happened at the end. And that's a John Cena appearance. So that's Money in the Bank 2021. Some good, some bad. But looking at the Money in the Bank winners specifically, I'm okay with it being Nikki ASH and Big E. I'm okay with that. Now it's just a matter of seeing when they'll cash in. Because, Nikki has a choice of either Bianca Belair or Charlotte Flair. And Big E has a choice of either Roman Reigns or Bobby Lashley. So, what do y'all think? What do y'all think Nikki Cross should cash in on? Do you think she should wait or go ahead and cash in as soon as possible? And same thing for Big E. What do you think he should cash in on? Should he wait or should he cash in ASAP? All I know is this ought to be a very interesting Raw. So we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I think there was a few good things, but there was some bad. And of course, there was the Peacock streaming technical difficulties that a lot of people had. And it's not a good look. So really, hopefully, and somebody that works in QA, that's unacceptable. You gotta be have more of a sense of urgency of getting stuff like that fixed with your app, with your program, when it's a live scheduled event. So, that's all I really have to say. Like I said, I apologize. Still a little congested, but I am getting better. Just continue to pray for me. But let me know what y'all's thoughts are on WWE Money in the Bank 2021. It's now in the books. Nikki Cross, Big E are your Money in the Bank briefcase holders. We'll see what happens. Should be an interesting Raw tomorrow. But like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos. Excuse me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Blitzball Champ Jason Ingram signing off. Hope everybody has a blessed week. I'll see y'all soon. Good night, everybody.